All right, good evening, everyone. Let's call this meeting to order, July 3rd, 2024. So I'm gonna get a call. Yeah.
We're gonna call this meeting to order, if everyone could,
Can we get some quiet, please, everybody?
thank you.
Thanks.
Carter.
Here.
Ellis. Gagan. Hodgkin.
Here.
Lawrence. Mackey. Morrison.
Here.
Newbill.
Here.
Pericini.
Here.
Fredo.
Here.
Sedor. Taylor.
Here.
Orr.
Here.
Thank you.
I'd like to make a motion to excuse Councilmember Sedor, Lawrence, Gaten, and Matovich.
Second. First and second, during discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Pledge of allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And before I move to tonight's agenda, I just wanted to make a very brief statement of the council opinion. I wanted to thank everyone for taking the time to be here tonight. I would also like to thank the staff, particularly Becca and Ruth, who made swift work of getting the meeting scheduled and noticed as soon as the grants pass ruling came down and the request for a meeting was made. I would also like to thank the code enforcement staff and APD for the work they did yesterday at the encampments to give campers notice and educate them on the changes that they can expect on the 9th. I also wish to offer my appreciation to Mayor Orr for authorizing the police to begin enforcement of our camping ordinances in public spaces citywide effective immediately. The purpose of calling this meeting is to go over with the council, to set up rulings that have restored local control of ordinance enforcement, discuss the direction we wish to go as a city in regard to that enforcement and potentially modifying by removal AMC 12.46.045. Law enforcement shall not enforce prohibitions when there is no overnight shelter for individuals or family units experiencing homelessness on the day that camping occurs. We should also discuss rulings and developments with regard to RV and vehicle dwellers and how we wish to proceed. So with that, I'd like to move to approve the agenda.
Second.
Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. Yeah. Representative Devin comment. We're going to open it up to public comment. Please, 3 minutes is your time frame. Please be separate. State your name or background. Hi.
Hi, my name is Sarah Michelbrink and I live in the encampment. I've been there for almost 2 years now. And when I went to CAP to get help, I told them that my last name was, they told me that they couldn't help me and that this interview ends right now. And so I've been stuck down there. I've been working with DHR to try to get housing, which is hard when you don't have an income. Being homeless is a job in itself. It's not like we can work, where are we supposed to shower, where are we supposed to do our laundry, you know? And looking for housing, $850 for a studio apartment, $1,000 for a 1 bedroom. We live down there. How are we supposed to find adequate and affordable housing when there is none? And I mean, we have people coming down and helping us, but I think CAP is really falling short. During the last cleanup, they were supposed to come and help us move back in the afternoon after DHR and Penalt Wellness Center helped us move out in the morning. They didn't come and help us move back in the afternoon at all. As far as I know, they didn't even show up. I didn't even see anybody from the CAP office there. So I know that I've been trying to help other people get help from the CAP office. Down there still, CAP office said that they couldn't help him. He said that they had motel funds, but then all of a sudden they couldn't help him. He's almost 50 years old. I have abdominal surgery, just relief. I can't help us. They've had 600 applicants for housing and they've helped 81 people. Those are actual statistics. That's ridiculous. I mean, what is the real answer for this? DHR does what they can, Penalt Wellness does what they can, but I feel like everybody else is falling short for us and helping what needs to be really done down there. I've been in treatment for almost 2 years now on the methadone program, and it helps. When you work it, it helps. You know, but being down there makes it hard, you know? Where are the answers, guys? What are we gonna do? Honestly, seriously, just putting us in jail isn't gonna be the answer, or finding us $25 a day for picking up stuff. I mean, what would you logically do if you were living down there? How would you live your life? Have you ever thought about that? Because I know when I was in school and they asked me what I wanted to be when I grew up, I knew homeless wasn't the answer.
So I'd just like to point out that, I just wanted to point out that we're really not supposed to interject, but this is just comments, so we're here right now to hear your comments and hopefully we can address those the issues later on tonight, but during the public comment, it's just comment.
Mr. Mayor, for the record, Councilmember Sedor logged on via Teams.
My name is Patrick Carey, and my address is Aberdeen Wide here. I'm homeless. There are hundreds of other homeless people in the town of Aberdeen. Many times in history, we see laws, regulations, codes, ordinances passed that target an entire socioeconomic group, such as fascism in Germany, apartheid in South Africa, Jim Crow in the American South, and Native American conquest nationwide. Hopefully not. It will not include fines and incarceration for the poorest and most vulnerable in Aberdeen. I just want to remind everyone up here that you are public servants. You're elected to serve the interests of the hundreds of homeless every bit as much as you are the homeowners, entrepreneurs, and those who you may more closely identify with. The disease of addiction and mental illness are growing and quickly and in perpetuity. They cannot be punished or reprimanded into not being a problem. That actually will only further divide and make things worse. So I instead suggest compassion and communication. Remember, the opposite of addiction isn't sobriety. The opposite of addiction is connection. Thank you.
Hi, good evening. I'm pretty new to the harbor. My wife and I moved here at the end of May last year. And we're still kind of adjusting to how to live and how to survive here. We live at the bottom of Hospital Hill. I'm not sure what ward that is. But I've noticed the True Doll. And my concern is me spending a lot of taxpayer money on solutions to remove or relocate people, but not really address the issue of why these people are in the situations they are. And the last meeting that we went to, when we were talking about the proposed homeless camp, it seems like there's a lot of services already available out there that people aren't necessarily using for one reason or another, whether they're unwilling to show up and put time in, or it's a sober facility. But I feel like if we would be better served if we spend our money as taxpayers and in the community on promoting infrastructure and job growth and creating stuff that are going to help our tax base rather than hindering our already stressed out people that are here. Prices keep going up on just about everything, utilities, rents, food. And I see a major lack of jobs and industry here where we have a ton of natural resources and there's a ton of stuff in this area that other people are drawn to. But when people are on their way to Ocean Shores or Westport, they simply drive by our city. They pass through as quickly as possible because they see it and they don't want anything to do with it. We need to change that and make an inviting space and bring those tourist dollars here. And we're close to everything. We could do better. We need to do better. We have to invest in our town in such a way that it brings dollars in, not pushes dollars out. And right now we're pushing dollars out. That's all I got. Thanks, guys.
Good evening, Norm Klein, Ward 3. And I agree with the last gentleman. He's been here for 2 years, I believe. I've been here for 5. And it's gotten progressively worse each year. Live in the town. My wife's a nurse. I'm partly retired. I work at the Montesano Courthouse. I get to see drug court. I get to see people going through diversion. Absolutely, we want to see that, all right? I don't think it's cold-hearted. Grind that last nickel out at someone's expense that's down on their luck. I do think we need to have a little bit of a carrot and a stick. And I think this allows us the opportunity. People want to get into treatment, sober living, whatever. Let's give them that opportunity before we crush them with a lot of legal stuff. That's fine, but the ones that just absolutely refuse and say, no, I'm here for the free stuff, I can't get behind that. We don't do that in the courtroom. We don't do it in drug court. Ask anybody that's been through treatment, there are consequences and that still needs to be there. But I think people are going to try to be as humane as possible. We want to see everyone on their feet and being productive, obviously, right? No one's here to see somebody grinding under the bridge, pushing a car around. That's not what we want. The business owners don't want it. The residents don't want it. All the stuff that comes with it. I want to see us enact sensible laws that start showing some forward motion. The vehicles that are sitting on the street, campers, RVs, all over the place, illegal camping. Those are stuff that's already on the books. You don't have to create new laws, new administrative things. Start enforcing those, but also be cognizant of our people that are down on their luck and are trying mightily to get out of that. I have 100% respect for that. I don't respect people that just are just telling me, middle finger, F you, not doing it. We came here because, you have methadone, you have this, you have that, we get free stuff. No, we need to be ahead of the curve because every other city in the state is going to be enacting laws, if not as rough, maybe tougher. And where are people going to go to? Oh, well, Aberdeen hasn't done anything. Let's all cruise down to Grays Harbor. So we need to be obviously aware that if we don't do anything, we're going to get inundated with a lot more people. They're going to show up because we haven't done anything. We can't sit on our hands. No action is not an action. We have to do something and tell people, yeah, if you come here, we're going to hold you to this standard. That's all I said. If you don't, every city, they're watching. They watch every, Seattle does something, everybody pays attention to Seattle. We're the biggest town in Grays Harbor. They're gonna pay attention to what we do. Sorry, that's not.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Hi, my name is Jamie Umnikrant. I'm in Ward 6. That's really bad.
You can move the mic over if you need to get it done.
That's very great. So I'm concerned that logistically, we can't actually enforce anything while actually addressing real crimes that are happening. Because as unfortunate as it is to have people who are unhoused, there's actual crimes being committed and just living on the street shouldn't be one of them. I'm more concerned about things that the police can actually address rather than just throwing somebody in a jail cell, which we don't have a lot of space anyway. And I don't think fining is really going to work because these people are just trying to survive. They're not really going to be able to hand over any money for that. It's really just, I'm sorry, I'm very nervous. But this is not really a thing that we need to be addressing. The laws that we have in place where you can't enforce the no camping ban until there's another place to go. That's what fairness and justice actually looks like. So let's continue working on the solutions you guys already put into place and not penalize people for just trying to work. Thank you.
Claire Jones, Ward 4. I am going to say some things here that are going to probably piss some people off. But I, on the other hand, want to thank the city for listening and taking account for the things that people are saying because they are listening. They are trying to do the right thing. This is a hard choice. What I think should happen is those people who are actively, openly, and not willing to take and listen to laws, we should send them to Slab City. There's a city in California who is completely lawless, that those people who are openly using, they need to be shipped out of here. The rest of the people who are trying and actively actively in treatment and on waiting lists, we need to have solutions in place for them. However, those other people who are trying to live lawless and not follow any rules and direction, let's use some funds and ship their asses out of here and let them go to Slab City where they can live lawlessly, freely. Like Aberdeen and Grays Harbor is not the place for that. I think that every one of us needs to be the change that we want to see and continue to work on this together. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Simon. I reside in Hopeland right now. We basically, my wife and I, we started a ministry 3 years ago after coming out of homelessness, coming out of addiction, coming out of a whole bunch of struggles that we are seeing out here on a daily basis. And really, I wanted to share that, we're seeing all these problems and we're talking about those people that don't want help or that aren't doing anything to better themselves. Well, that's only 10% out of the 90% that are out here. Only 10% are just living free. The rest of them, they want something better. Some unfortunate medical, something happened, they missed some time at work and couldn't pay the rent, A stream of unfortunate events is what put him into that situation, either that or, mental health. So there's all these different avenues, but these are individuals that are wanting something better for their life. And if we're gonna try to push them out of here or try to sit there and fine them for being homeless, for living like the pioneers did over 2,000 years ago. I mean, not 2,000, but a few hundred years ago when our country was founded. I mean, that's kind of ridiculous. If you're living off the roots that our country was founded off of. The thing is we're all equal, we're all humans, we're all individualized, and this is more of a community problem rather than just a homeless issue. We need to come together and figure out how we can help each other, how we can encourage people to take the right steps. This is a leadership issue. And setting where I'm at right now as a leader, it's really important for me to reach out there and make that presence known and help counsel individuals. This is where you can go. This is where resources are. It's not, let's push them out of here. It's let's give them opportunity to build themselves up and give them hope so they can survive out here and be another productive person in our society. My wife and I made an example of that, and many more out here I can name on a first name basis that has the potential to make that same dent in the problems out here. We're starting to see successes, and it'd be hard to drive people away, especially given fines that they can't pay and are going to get benchmarks for. It's kind of ridiculous. So we need to stand up together as a community and really do something.
Thanks.
Hi, my name is El Toro Moro. I've been here for 17 years and I noticed that the rent started going up. I didn't see you guys putting a cap on it where we wouldn't be where we're at. If the rent wouldn't be so high, we'd be able to afford it, you wouldn't have this problem. There's no jobs here, there's people out here with skills. They can do stuff. You got people out here sick. Where are you guys at? What are you doing? You guys go to church and believe in God. How can you face yourself in the morning saying, kick them out of here? We live here. This is the United States. We're supposed to be able to live what you, like us telling you to go. How would you like that? You wouldn't, because this is your home. This is our home. We don't have to be kicked out. Just give us a job. You have a place. You didn't have this problem before. Thank you.
My name is Brian Hill. My friend owns a shop down at the end of the street there, and they want to call the police and all the time and trying to get them kicked out of there. And so we were talking about maybe there's something we could do to help. Every show, reference to people even.
Take your time.
Makes the portable showers and some portable bathrooms and it's. So. Cooking facilities for people. And we talked about it. Yes, it's any, but I'm done with liability thing. Here's a way to get around having big science, just get the contracted. Do you think that do this? And that will rescue facilities, is liability. And but you don't like that, they gotta have a shower, it's about like. Oh, I'm sorry, that's all I'm saying.
My name is Danny Nicolai. I'm part of many organizations. We need a solution for a lot of stuff here in Grand Harbor. We need to find a permanent spot for these people. I have so many friends out there that need their guys' help so much because this is my passion to help those who need help. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Maxine Johnson. While I reside in Hopeland, I go to Grace Harbor College. First things first, if you're going to look into this problem, we need to define. We need to look at these people and think, these are humans, capital H humans. They have the same value as anyone else. Secondly, the only thing that has been proven in other nations and in other parts of our country to solve the homeless problem is not criminalizing, is not a proto-fascistic day of the rope where we kick all these people out of the county, kick all these people out of the city, jail them, fine them. No. What has been proven to work is housing first. We need a house. We need to fundamentally solve our problems, not bandage it by committing violence against these people. And now that I have some extra time, if you talk to anyone who works at Grace Harbor College, you will hear the same story about some different student from every single one of them. They are hardworking, they achieve good grades in their classes, they might even work a job or two, they might have kids. And midway through a quarter, they lose their home, they get kicked out by their parents, they get a diagnosis and cannot work anymore. And these people are trying to build a life, and you don't need to be in college or to actively have a job right now to be building a better life for yourself and for your family. You must just be trying to improve yourself, which I would say 85% of these people are actively improving themselves every day. And that's my piece.
My name is Crystal Tiedemann, and I am in Ward 6. I have been living here with my husband, who was born and raised here his entire life. And I'm getting sick and tired of going down to these parks and my children finding needles. That is not fair to them. That is not something that they should be having to look for when they're in a park. And as far as Mr. Emmert, what are we gonna do with the buildings that are just sitting around? In the 7 years that I have lived here with my husband and my kids, this city is starting to look like absolute shit. And I'm not one to cuss, but it's very irritating to see all these buildings just sitting here when the city could take over, buy these buildings back, and turn them into possible transitional housing for the homeless.
Being homeless, having a shower is very hard. I haven't showered in 3 weeks, but I go to the bathroom to shower when I can. But we really need to find a solution for that too.
My name's Sean Baker and I'm currently homeless. I've lived here in Aberdeen probably roughly about 20 years. And I've been homeless the whole time. It's not been easy for me to find an apartment, living off of Social Security. I lost my Social Security. And now I only get my ABD, which is only $450 a month. It's not easy. I have applied at 15 different apartments and have not been successful. I currently live in Ascent. On Heron Street. And with my I used to live down on the river before they moved it to Tent City. So, and I was an active drug user then. I now have 95 days clean and sober. Yeah, tonight, it's not been hard continuing living out on the streets. There's not a second that I don't think of going back out there and using again. It's hard being out here on the streets. But one of the things that keeps my head up is my dog. And I've got people like my substance counselor that I currently go to Tuesdays and Thursdays, and relapse prevention on Mondays and Fridays. But it's hard. And with this ordinance, with no camping and whatnot, it's gonna be hard for everybody to be able to find, I'm engaged in services with DHR and CAP both. And, like I said, I've gone through 14 different applications for apartments and I can't get into either. And it's not gonna be any easier if we can't. Thank you.
Thank you.
For 3 years. I've been trying really hard to stay, 9 months clean now. I stay on the river with everybody else down there. I see the looks on their faces when we were told we had to move. We were all devastated because that's our home, just as much as it is your guys' home. We want to be here. We don't want to be kicked out. We don't want to have to go to Olympia where it's 10 times worse, just like Portland and Vancouver and Oregon. It's not any better than here. We have to change that. We can do so much better than just watching everybody OD every day and die and losing people when they could be in treatment, getting clean. Like I want to live in a house. I want to get a job. I want to do things, but it's so hard because nobody tries to help us. Nobody at all is in CAP. Not even CAP, DHR. I know this. It's shitty. It really is. It's stupid that you guys, that they don't want to help. They look at us and bat an eye and then just tell us to go away. I've tried to sign up for housing 4 different times through CAP and they've rejected me every single time. My dad lives on the river and so does my mom with me. We are a happy family. So sad to see us all have to leave because we're human. We can do it just as much as you guys did when you guys were growing up. We just need to be given a chance. That's all we need is a chance. That's all I have to say.
Hi, Anastasia Osorio, City of Oakville. All I really want to say is I thank you for everybody who's come out, especially those to advocate for their particular demographic. This is heartbreaking. It's absolutely heartbreaking. You people all have a responsibility to survey and categorize the need and what tier these people are at and what they need, and to make sure that they get those needs met. I'm not so sure that a shelter over at Junction City that can only house 35 is gonna handle the problem that you guys have on your hands. So yeah, outreach is necessary to determine that. So if you need to elicit volunteers, I'm sure there's a lot of bleeding hearts probably in this room that are willing to go out there and talk to these people because this is ridiculous. And now there's no choice. You have to handle the problem.
Hi, I'm Tara Croft. I'm from Ward 141. And I really feel for these people that are out here suffering. And especially when we have social services to above your heads, just that are creating more jobs for themselves while these people are suffering and they're making money. That's their business, to make millions and to get more of these contracts so they can make more millions and buy windmills, and they're remodeling their building. And here we got people and they're charging these people. They hardly have no money and they're making money off of them when they're already getting tons of money. So we got to stop this mentality of always thinking that social services is going to help them because they have no end goal. And I think that was brought up before, that they have to have a goal. What is success? What is success when they should get off the street? And they do need help with drugs and alcohol. I mean, they need to get help to fix that first. And usually that does stop when they get arrested or they're put somewhere where they don't have access to it. But if there was just better ways, but I think there has to be some oversight with these social services programs because they are not doing their job. They're not doing us any favor. They're just making it worse. And we're seeing more and more people with these problems and they never seem to get better, but they still seem to get richer and richer and they're getting poorer. So we've got to do something different. And if it comes down to voting, I mean, vote Trump. Because Trump is not going to let this continue to happen. He's going to keep people accountable. And not only that, well, this is political, and this is the decisions we kept together every day. We hear this. We want to change, and that's how change is going to happen. Vote different.
Well, the reason we're here tonight is because some big decisions were made by the Supreme Court that are affecting our laws. Can you give us your name? Sorry, my name's Tara Merritt, I live in Ward 4. It's very disconcerting that we live in this county that has CAP. And I don't know how many 501c3s that are supposed to be helping solve this problem. How many people here tonight work for these 501c3s that help these people? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. How many of you show up at the camp on a weekly basis and try and help these people? Okay, that's good to see. Alita Moore and one of our council members there show up there weekly, but the rumor is that not many people are showing up to help them on a weekly basis. And I hope, given what's happening now, that we'll start seeing more of that. It's very disconcerting to see people coming here and saying, I'm asking for help. I've applied for housing and I'm not getting any help. And I don't know who in our city or among these 501c3s can ask for audits of CAP and these other organizations, but it's high time. Because I don't know what they're doing with this money, but it should be helping these people. But that's a discussion that we need to have. We've been having this conversation at City Hall. There's no other community gathering that happens on a weekly basis where we can all convene together and have this discussion. But the business of the city is to enforce the laws and ordinances of the city. And as much as we want our city council to solve this mental health and drug addiction crisis, that's not the business of the city. We've got very compassionate city council people. We've got very compassionate mayors and city administrators and police and fire chiefs that deal with this problem on a daily basis. And I know they want to be helpful, but we need to start writing our legislators at the state because that's who has the money. So I implore you, please get online. We all have phones and they can all be emailed. That's where the money is. And that's that's the tree we need to start barking up because that's where the money is to solve the problems. We've got major crime happening downtown and our businesses are suffering. We've got a $3 million deficit in our city budget. We can't keep spending $33,000 a month with this problem. we've got to get these entities in town to help you guys get housing. They're there. There was a phone call today, and people were saying, I'm not doing this, is discriminating or whatever, to go down and give people bags and help them. We've got to help these people this time. So if you have a job and it's your job to work with these 501c3s, get down there and help them. Don't say it's not your job.
My name is Steve Davis. I'm from Cosmopolis. Lived in down 63 years. It's well past time for us to fix this crisis. We all know that. The problems really, you can't just point at a social service group and say, you're not doing your job. We do have some agencies that are dinosaurs. They've been here a long time, and things need to change. We need to invoke change, and that's what we're all trying to do tonight, invoke change. So the real key is we have history in disbanding camps, and we know what happens. We know that we have kind of an orderly thing going on right now, and we're gonna do some damage. So imagine yourself being at home and having somebody come up and give you a notice. It says in less than 5 business days, you have to relocate. They don't tell you where you're going or how you're gonna get there, or what's gonna happen with your belongings, or anything. So the key is, yes, it's time to make a change and invoke change, but doing it in this manner is irresponsible. The businesses downtown, the property owners downtown will suffer the effects of this. And what happens is right now we have kind of this orderly thing going on. It's disgusting down there. I do go down there. There's no sanitation. There's nothing. About a year and 3 months ago, I went to Florida after a hurricane and helped some friends and family try to figure out what they're doing. We lived in a tent. We had a FEMA shower, fortunately, and a FEMA laundry trailer. There was not much services there at all. And I lived down there for about 3 months. And fortunately, we had transportation and we had another place to live. So we lived in the camp for a little while, and then we go R&R a little bit and come back. It can't be done. They're rebuilding Florida, they're doing just fine. There's a homeless population, a transient population. There was then, there is now. It's a little bit more orderly. So we need to invoke change in our community. But we know that we gotta give people more than 5 business days to move. By hardlining it, it's gonna make a huge impact on our police departments, our fire departments. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna force people that are ill prepared to move into other areas.
Everybody, I'm Benji. And it goes way beyond this housing and everything, because, there's been, I don't know, I worked on at least 150, maybe 200 overdoses down there. And it's, the housing is only the part of the problem, but it's our safety too. There's people shooting at us because of bad publicity that's getting by the media or the papers and everything. And people that are lighting these things right here on fire, you guys know what that is, right? The big artillery. And they're throwing them off the bridge at us, and people are getting injured every day, flying fireworks and flying shit off the bridge and stuff. But we're barely scratching the surface of what we need to do for our homeless community and our homeless problem. But, I think writing it up in the paper, or anybody has anything to say, try to combat the real problem,
Hello, everybody. My name is Joey Banish. I'm one of the co-owners of Destination Open Recovery. I think we're jumping the gun. It's just too quick. I will say pretty amazing things been happening. Some parts of the meetings at Coastal Cap, DHR, the Marriott Group, Shopping's on the Harbor, Pinellas Mill Center. We're all coming together for the first time since I've started our agency for over 3 years, talking about how we can help as one unit, the population that we all care so much about. I know people are up here saying certain things about certain agencies. I know that all of us are out there busting our butts, trying to get people housed, getting them employed. I'm not gonna get up here and I don't need any of you guys for this. I'd like to see you guys, I'd like to ask y'all for property throughout the city for small sites, maybe 5 to 10 camps, ones that we can run, Cap can run, Shopping's on the Harbor can run, and the Marriott Group can run. We get them housed, we get them employed, a new person comes in. Instead of just doing this and dispersing everybody throughout the community, because it's not right. You guys have seen that tonight. There's so many people out there suffering, trying to do the right thing. So just really think about this and just don't go with the flow. Thank you.
Michelle Perman, I actually have a business downtown. So there's a ruling, but nothing has changed in our community, guys. The people who are homeless are still homeless. The people who need to be treated still need treatment. And CAP has no housing to give people. So until we designate an area that people can have access to services, not be kicked out every single morning, not lose their things every single day, be able to take a shower, be able to have bathrooms, be able to have garbage, this is going to continue. Nothing has changed in our community. This ruling changes nothing. We still need to help these people. And that's it. So I'm down there every other day. I'm down there all the time. There are people who are struggling for sure, but DHR and Moore and God, thank you for Quinault is doing an amazing job reaching out to people. We can't just leave them out. There's no place for them to go. So, yeah, we have a ruling, but having an emergency meeting and saying, okay, now what are we gonna do with that? We can't put them in jail. There's not enough places, there's not enough police, there's not enough facilities to do anything. So we have to take a step back and figure out where are we going to put them? Where are people gonna be? And it's not gonna be decided tonight. It's just not going to be.
I need to need a lot more forward. Yes, that's it. I am also the executive director of the moment. And we knew when this ruling happened, it was going to change some things. But I'm before you to ask for a little more time. We're working on affordable housing. Right, we have plans, and as I told staff today, some in tears, right? Because we do a housing first program. We do a housing stabilization. We own some properties and we are working on affordable housing. But we've been also working on projects for like 3 years to develop housing. Things take time. And when we uproot a lot of things that we've been doing, and this county doesn't have enough housing. Right? We're not the only one working on affordable housing solutions, but we have no place to clean people. Like as an organization, we gotta take care of our tenants, we gotta take care of folks that are certain things. But if we give people no place to go, where do they then go? Like the conversation about pushing people other places, logistically, plans need to be put in place. Even our organization, we are maxed out on the tenant and the people that we were helping because there's no place to move them all the time. We're coming very much so into the summer months. So looking at hotels and places to put people in, traveling people is hard.
So we're asking for time. We know things have to change. But kind of like was mentioned earlier, we literally are starting to have conversations with other organizations doing this work because the Moral Right Group has been here for many years now. And we weren't always in those rooms for those conversations. So to be able to be to the table to help create solutions, because we are not the only solution in this county. But to be able to have time, because people need to be treated as people. And if we can help come together and give a little more time in, so that we can create some solutions, that would be great and amazing. That's what it's.
Hi, me again. Dale from Albert Rivers. Okay, so every time I have offered to let people camp, under shelter, it's bit me in the butt every single time. They start coming in wanting more, they want money, they want free clothes, they want me to supply everything. Well, shoot, I'm getting loans just to help to pay, for me to pay their rent. If they, the amount of garbage, I spent an hour and a half last night sweeping garbage out from around my fire station, because I asked people the night before not to camp there, please. But they did, and they left all their garbage. And then the people that are visiting the motorhome in the vacant lot for 5 minutes are leaving all their garbage. And they're the one, they told me, oh, that's not our garbage. Well, I saw them. They're the ones that left the garbage. There's been so much damage, my broken windows, I got broken into. I'm not against helping anybody, but it's people that aren't. They don't want help and they want to destroy any other public property, or other people. So that's my take. Every time I try to help, they bite me in the butt. I can yell, I don't know if that'll help.
My name is Sonny Garrett, I live in West Aberdeen. I used to work with an organization called Revival of Grace Harbor. We were a 501c3 in the area. Unfortunately, we lost our funding and everything because we got no help. We were helping people. We had showers, we had bathrooms, we had clothing, we had, toiletries, we had things that we were helping them with. If they got clean enough, we would help them get a volunteer job to put something on their resume to get an actual job. We were actually helping. And we know there's other organizations out there doing similar things, but because the city refused to help us, we lost it. And then the building that we had showers and everything in, right after we left, got burned down. I don't know what that was. I'm not blaming anybody or whatever, but that could have very easily been reopened to keep something there, to help them with showers, to help them with clothing, to help them with toiletries, to help them learn job skills. This was something that was helping a little bit. It's only a mustard seed that can start getting this ball rolling, and it was there. It was a way to show people things like this can take place and things like this can help. But we need to look at other things that can become bigger than that. That can also, not only that, but there was a lot of them out there that said they refused to go to certain places because they could not be with their loved ones. They could not be with their children. Fathers could not be with their children. Mothers could not be with their husbands. That could not happen. And that is ridiculous. We need places that families can be together. That's what we are. We're families and we need to start acting like it.
All right, it's fine. I was, having a conversation with
I'm sorry, sir. You'll have to wait and come back. You've already spoken once, so you'll have to come back at the second.
I think, cool.
Anybody else? All right. Yeah.
My name's Robin Kozak. I don't live in Aberdeen anymore, but I am a business owner of Destination Home Recovery with Joey. What I wanted to say tonight and focus on was the commitment that the city started 2 years ago when they created the Homeless Response Committee. The commitment to looking for long-term solutions. That commitment didn't happen when the city's hands were tied with Martin versus Boise. That was years beforehand. That commitment happened because all of the things that have happened, the lawsuits that have happened to the city in the time since. That commitment should still stand, and it does still stand. I'm now a member of the Homeless Response Committee. But we need to see solutions that actually move things forward. And the council tonight is not voting whether to enforce. That's already been decided. Council is voting on a specific line item, right? So if it was so easy to flip that switch to say, we're going to enforce starting next Wednesday. It's just as easy to flip that switch back and say, you know what? We have commitments from these social service entities. We spent 2 hours talking today with, our first meeting, 35 individuals. We had all of the leads from CAP. We had a lot of our staff members, all of our leadership team committed to coming together to look for solutions, to talk about things that we can do. And we have some ideas on what we could make work. We know that there's always the possibility that the county decides for the city of Aberdeen. That is a possibility. It's been talked about numerous times. But, for myself, I can't call myself a homeless advocate because I've never been homeless. And I'm not currently homeless. But what I can say is that I know what it's like to be in a position where things just keep on getting thrown at you. And you have no way that you're in no control of it. And you feel lost and you feel depressed and you feel like you can't take yourself out of it. I think most people at the table here tonight, most people in the audience can reflect on that experience, maybe with their personal debt, with their credit card debt. Just imagine, being successful, you finally get a home, you finally start to succeed in life or feel that you succeed in life and you lose your job. You lose your benefits, you lose your home, you lose everything. Maybe you don't. Maybe all that happens is that you have a medical emergency.
Israel Tiedemann, Ward 6. This is with the homeless. There are homeless veterans out there too as well. Whether you're a homeless veteran from the United States or from somewhere else. I know plenty of veterans that are homeless out there. What are we doing to help these people as well? They fought for their country. I fought for my country. I was homeless for almost half a year. I know what these people are going through. It's hard to come back to your country thinking, okay, I fought for my country. It's gonna be a little easier. I know plenty of people out there that are veterans. Like I said, whether they're from here, a veteran here in America, the American Forces, or England, Scotland, wherever, you name it. They came here to America, well, to make their lives better, because better here in America. Look at what's happening between Hamas and Israel right now. Perfect example. Veteran is a veteran. We need to help our veterans, homeless or otherwise.
Hello, everyone. I am Janice Robbie. I work in Ward 5, I believe. I just want to remind everyone the library is open Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Saturday. I apologize. I always forget that. 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. We have clean restrooms, we have Wi-Fi, and we have water. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Josh, I'm a resident of Aberdeen. And, this is ridiculous, everybody's here, you know, you guys have had other cities come in here and give you their options and tell you what they're doing but instead, you know, you guys want to keep dancing around this whole homeless thing, it's been a problem for a long time. I spent time in my car up there, I've got diabetes, health problems and stuff. And, you know, there's supposed to be bathrooms in the middle of town, there's no bathrooms. You know, this is an ongoing problem, you know. I'm currently volunteering at the Hope and Food Bank, you know, working off a ticket because I was on my way to a meeting and I went by the way of Tent City and I pulled over by John Lethal Construction and then I had a cop come out of nowhere, pull up behind me and ask to see my license and registration and then asked me for, you know, he asked me for my information and stuff. And then at the end of it, he turned around and told me that he pulled me over for my life. And so, but because I didn't have any insurance, he turned around and gave me a ticket. He didn't even pull me over behind me when I was already pulled over. And so I'm working off this fine. I was homeless at the time. You know, now I've got an apartment and the manager, the slumlord, doesn't want to fix the building downtown. You know, it's ridiculous, you know, Amherst owns half of the town, nothing's happening to any of these buildings. Like, the council needs to do something, you guys need to step up. There needs to be a shelter, I've heard, oh, there doesn't need to be a shelter, there needs to be something. This is bullshit. You know, this has been an ongoing problem for a while. You know, criminalizing people for being homeless, that's bullshit, doesn't need to happen. You know, you guys need to come up with a better plan. Instead of criminalizing people. You know, I understand there's crime out there and shit, but criminalizing everybody, I mean, come on. This is ridiculous. That's stupid. Step it up, you know, and do something. Make these people start fixing their buildings and quit taking advantage of people on disability who are, you know, I'm struggling right now. I'm trying to find a job, you know, I got my own shit going on, you know, but, you know, criminalizing the homeless, that's not the answer. You know, there needs to be something better. So that's all I got, thanks.
Hi, my name is Elena Moore. You probably don't recognize me looking like a hippie therapist, but I do work for law enforcement. Language is important. And one thing I've heard over and over again tonight is the word solved. If you listen to Johnny Manson, this week, on one of the centennial moments, the Aberdeen City Council, 100 years ago, was talking about what to do to solve the homeless problem in South Aberdeen. How are we going to clean this up? So solving is the wrong thing. Housing, all types of housing is necessary. Recovery is necessary. Accountability is necessary. Giving pathways, but then holding people responsible. We live in America, people have autonomy, they're self-directed. You can't force someone to go somewhere. Recovery, another state, another city or town, but You can build rapport, and you can find pathways, you can develop relationships, you can encourage people to do things to better their condition. Grays Harbor has a problem with population versus units. So Emmerich doesn't seem to appear to want to develop his properties. We do have eminent domain. We've got people losing houses for a levy. People should be able to count on their government to take over empty buildings that are destroying their community, create more spaces for more people to live on the entire continuum, whether they're at the bottom of the socioeconomic scale or the top. You've got to have upward mobility in a community for a community to thrive. And that's your problem.
Folks, for your comments. So it's the mayor's report, and I want to talk about what a few people have said tonight. I personally feel that there's no way we can put people in jail. It's not going to solve anything. It's going to make it worse than anything. But we do have to have some accountability. I think where we, as a city and as a community, have let down our most needy population is that we don't have an entry point. And that this facility that the Homeless Response Committee has been diligently trying to make happen would be that entry point where all homeless people could go in and be evaluated and put on a path towards getting off drugs, getting a new home, getting a job, all the things that people need to survive. And I would hope that our council would not stand in the way of us creating that type of a facility. It's not enabling. And it's really something, it's a beginning. It's a place that we don't have on the harbor right now. If somebody is homeless and they come into Grays Harbor, or they're here and they become homeless, where do they go? And some will go to CAP, and if they don't fit their parameters, then where do they go? This homeless facility that we're talking about, even though it would only start off with 30-some beds, as it filled, we could expand it. There's enough property to expand it. Not necessarily in the site that we're talking about in Junction City, but we need to have that facility somewhere. These rulings don't change the fact that our people in our community are needy, who are homeless. They don't have anywhere to go. Your grandmother wouldn't have anywhere to go if she was priced out of her apartment. We really need this, and we need the council, instead of being divided over what organization wants to run it or how it's going to be run. We need to leave that to the professionals. We're not professionals in that, but we do have an obligation to help start this type of facility. That's my personal opinion. I don't carry a lot of weight. I'm just the mayor. The council is the one that has to be persuaded to allow us to get this facility going and to provide this beginning place for our community members who find themselves without homes. I don't care if they're on drugs. I don't care what the problem is that got them to that point. Compassion is something that we should have in our hearts for those people in our community who need our help. So I, going forward, ask that our city council do whatever we possibly can to help us start this process and stop kicking the ball down the road. The problem is never going to go away. So that's my saying. Now we move on to council reports. Thank you. Okay, let's go to finance.
Can you hear me? Hello?
Hold on, we got somebody on.
Go ahead, Stan.
Stan.
I'm not aware there was anything on the finance agenda for the meeting tonight.
Thanks. Looked at the wrong. Okay, no council reports, then there's been a request for an action, public safety. Right there.
Casey has a report, Casey has a request.
There you go.
I don't know that it's necessarily a request, I just, wanting to continue this discussion with council. I also want to consider modifying the municipal code to, remove just a couple sentences out of it. Additionally, since we've got the lawyer on and,
I guess just get further guidance on the ramifications of grants passed, and then there was another ruling regarding RVs. I would be curious to hear more about that.
Turning on. See
Hillary, are you with us?
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Good evening, guys. And I'm sorry if I'm squinting. You guys are a little bit blurry because of the beautiful sunshine today. So yes, I believe you all received a memorandum regarding the Grants Pass ruling, which effectively overturned the Ninth Circuit decision on Grants Pass and Boise, which allows, I believe that the ruling allows cities and towns, municipalities to enforce its anti-camping regulations with fines and with criminal citations. Doesn't mean you have to, just means you're authorized to, whereas before you were not. And the ruling today, while interesting, I'm not sure it's as relevant. Essentially, that case was the city of Lacey had enacted an ordinance that limited parking of RVs and trailers to 4 hours at a time, meaning effectively no one could live in an RV on public property. And the Washington State Supreme Court, I think they were waiting to see how the Supremes ruled, honestly, because today they ruled very similarly that cities and towns may regulate parking. It doesn't violate the Washington State Constitution to limit parking to 4 hours, effectively allowing fines and penalties to accrue and the impound, I would imagine, of vehicles where people may be living. These are two very large changes for us. And I would encourage, I'm happy to talk about potential ordinances, reviewing and revising ordinances, but there are so many ways to tackle this issue from a legislative perspective that I would caution you to do anything. I know that you have to read an ordinance 3 times and have a public hearing before it become effective. And I know that you need to publish the ordinance before it's first read. So I know none of those things can occur tonight, but I would really encourage you to be very thoughtful about the way you go about it. While the legal landscape is entirely different than it was a week ago, that doesn't mean you need to jump to action and do something quickly. I think a thoughtful response is the best way to go about it. And I'm very happy to talk to you about alternative ways to doing that. But certainly you don't need to wait for shelter beds anymore. You can enforce, your sit-lie ordinances. You have far more tools in your tool belt than you did previously. So I'm happy to discuss ideas and brainstorm ideas that you might have and work with your police chief, who I know is incredibly well-read and well-versed in these new decisions as well, to help you come up with something that's good for your community. So I'm happy to answer questions.
So does that include whatever parking ordinances that we have on the books already? Are those enforceable as well?
The decision came out this morning, so I haven't had an opportunity to review all of your parking ordinances. Maybe the chief is familiar, but I would imagine that your parking ordinances are constitutional and likely you could go further with addressing individuals who live in RVs and trailers, whereas previously we felt hamstrung to do so because of the Homestead Act and various other regulations. This Washington State case makes clear that cities and towns may regulate essentially how long an RV can stay on public streets and limit it so that no one can live in them.
So the Homestead Act no longer applies.
They didn't address the Homestead Act clearly, but that's the implication I'm getting. And I think this ruling, and we'll have to see. I mean, I never advise a city to be the first one to do anything. It's always better to let a city like Burien do it and then watch what happens. But I think this means that you can have ordinances that say if you have an RV and you're living in it, you can't stay on public streets for more than 4 hours. And if you do so, we can put tickets on it. And if you don't pay your tickets, we can tow you. And that wasn't clear before. It was much more murky. So I'm not sure what the legal interplay is, but certainly cities will get out there and legislate quickly and they will get sued. So again, it's not necessarily best to be the first one out there for that reason. Sometimes it's better to wait and learn, but you certainly have a lot more opportunity to regulate and legislate than you did before.
And does the council have any questions for Hillary?
Yes, I do. Thank you, Hillary. So if we were to regulate RVs on public streets, using your example of they wouldn't be allowed to park more than 4 hours, would that essentially require us to set up no parking zones that restricted parking to all vehicles to no more than 4 hours?
The world is your oyster, truly. You could make a commercial zone where this is in effect. The city of Lacey, I believe, did this ordinance citywide. However, they put into effect various, in their case, it was a city manager approved permits that were exceptions to this. So for instance, if you were moving and you needed a trailer to load and unload for several days, you could apply to the city for an exemption and a permit to park longer. So, I mean, really, the more you think about it, I think it's important to properly tailor it to your city. Do you want a commercial district where this applies? Do you want to apply it to a whole city? Is it 4 hours? Is it 24 hours? Is it 2 days? I would be thoughtful about those regulations and whether or not you want to make exemptions or an application process for a permit where someone could apply for exemptions. In this city, in the city of Lacey, for instance, there was a difference between residents and non-residents and what they could apply for in terms of exemptions, which I thought was interesting. But our Supreme Court, which is generally fairly liberal, blessed the city of Lacey's ordinance entirely in their decision today. So that means that you could do anything they did and maybe a little bit more.
Okay, and then with the Supreme Court decision, it seems like they were deciding essentially on whether the Eighth Amendment came into play and was in violation, and they decided that it wasn't. But there are other amendments and the Bill of Rights. Potentially, is this just the beginning, and that that in terms of protecting the rights of individuals, there are other avenues that a city like ours could be sued?
Absolutely. I think you've done your research. The courts, including the Supreme Court, are hamstrung by the issues raised and the legal arguments raised. A Supreme Court, even though they're supreme, cannot address other constitutional amendments, other arguments that were not made below. And both of the rulings that we're talking about today, both the state Supreme Court and the US Supreme Court said in their opinions, they both specifically said, we're not addressing these arguments, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which of course is a hint to any homeless advocacy group out there, what arguments they might entertain in a second case with a different challenge. The case law is what it is for now, but you're right. I mean, if someone comes up with a different argument to challenge these types of ordinances, and I'm sure a group will, we don't know what could happen in the future. I would say, though, that it's unlikely another homeless case will make it through the courts in the next 3 to 5 years. that could potentially alter, amend, or overturn this decision, just because of the way the federal courts work and the time it takes to litigate these things.
Thank you.
Any other council questions? Okay. Do you have anything else to say? Council President?
I do have some questions about, how next Tuesday is gonna go. What is the process gonna look like for that? Are there going to be support agencies down there? How's the city planning to proceed with the clear out of the canal?
Sorry, I'm the answer.
Yeah, go ahead.
It would be the same as the other camps, as you know, we would be removing the camp from the locations that they're at. We will have police and public works available. We have a location, if people wanted to keep their items, the city would store them for up to 60 days. So yeah, this is just part of the cleanup. We do not have a location for people to go. That's where our social service groups, our hope is that they can find folks. If you have any feedback for me on that particular issue, but we've been kind of waiting for this day. Our community expects it. We now have laws that we no longer are bound by, or rules that we're bound by. And as the city administrator, it is my job to enforce the law, and to ensure that it is enforced. And now that we're in the clear, we have to be able to do this. So I don't know, I don't have an answer of where people will go. I met with some of the community resource groups. We brainstormed some ideas, and that involved the county, reaching out to the county. The county receives funding for this sort of thing. And so we looked at what other cities have done in declaring emergencies in order to bypass financial processes and bidding processes in order to fund immediate pallet shelters, things like that. The city of Vancouver did something similar to that. So I think that there are options out there for us to consider, but unless the council and the mayor direct me differently, Tuesday we will be clearing out the camps starting at 10 a.m.
And this is, I'm sorry, just a second here, but we're saying that they have to pack up their stuff during the day and they can camp at night. But when daytime gets here, they gotta pack up their stuff again. We're not allowing them to live there. They can camp at night, they can sleep, but they just can't live there. That those businesses down there are taking such a.
So basically just what's already reflected in our ordinances.
Yeah.
It's at 11 p.m. to 6 a.m.
Is that what you would like for people to be able to return?
Well, ultimately, I would like it not to happen. I wish we had a place for them, but they're gonna have.
We do have a place for them. The Union Gospel Mission has 40 beds available. Friendship House has 5. So there are locations that some people can. That's why we're able to enforce this now, because there are locations available.
So my question, it's completely brought to my attention from a couple of months.
Okay.
I yield so that you can.
I was just curious about the yellow line map. Is that still applicable, or are we just, they can camp anywhere?
That's it.
Oh, okay, thank you.
So, I'm concerned about giving a 5 days notice. That, when a landlord serves notice on the tenant, it's at least 30 days, if not longer with the new laws. I'm hearing from the people who spoke today that they're desperate for an alternative. And it sounds like there's a lot of communication and planning going on, networking amongst our service providers. And I agree that it would be very helpful to slow down just a bit so that there can be some creativity that comes to bear. There may be ways that the city can actually help create alternative camping spots for people. And in 5 days, we can't do that. And I do appreciate the idea that people need to pack up and move their stuff, but they can come back.
They can come back with a tent. They can build houses, build structures, have fire pits inside of their tent. Can't all, they just need a place every day. And compassion says that we have to allow them to sleep at night, but during the day, they have to pick up their stuff.
What I would like to see is that the city gives people a good 30 days before we start actually clearing away camps permanently. And I know that our business people have suffered incredibly, and they are desperate for solutions. And I think what we're doing is we're providing some concrete solutions, and a timeline that will actually give them some relief. But let's do this thoughtfully, and as our legal counsel has suggested, to be thoughtful and not rush into something. I put that out there for further conversation. And I know that at the HRC meeting, we did talk about here's the next steps that we can take to keep moving us down the road in a positive direction. And I'll let council members here tease.
I agree with Liz. I think that at least a 30-day notice is fair. And I would like to pursue a property where we would be able to help people with a hand up, not a place to live forever. I know that's been a rumor, but it's not true. The reality is that when you're on the streets, you try to find a hand up. Listening to some of these people speak rips my heart out. I would love to help them. And we have an opportunity as a city to create a location where we have all these services that gather together to help them. Right now, they don't have that. They don't have 20 minutes. I'm still passionate about that. And I know that I have gained enemies because I have a different opinion than them, but that's okay. I'm willing to lose all my friends if I can help one person. On the move for 30 days to give people an opportunity to find another location at this time. Thank you.
Was that a motion you made?
Yes.
There's been a motion made to second. Is there any discussion?
I had something to say before that. So the HRC, was there not a plan B?
Yeah, so the HRC spoke yesterday, if I may,
Yes.
speak to that. The HRC, our HRC had a great conversation yesterday around this, like a what now conversation. What does the future of this look like? Because there are some still like longstanding issues that have to be addressed, which include permanent support housing. And then prior to this morning's ruling, which we thought we had time, we were trying to figure out what safe parking would look like. So we may have to check that out. But there was discussed yesterday to wait and to see what enforcement would look like for about a 3-month period. And to collect data, to collect data points. Right now, we're collecting how much money the city is spending on cleaning up the camp. If we started enforcement, what would that look like? So we had police data that would look like how many times did we have to go and respond to homeless related calls. Or, you know, whatever Chief Green wanted to collect that way that he felt would be relevant to gauging whether or not we were moving the needle on this homeless issue. Referrals, we had Robin from Destination Hope and Recovery said that he would track for the Recovery Navigator program, how many referrals came to the office. We would work with Union Gospel Mission to see what the daily mission capacity look like. Were the numbers going up? Are they going down? Are people using that now that we can enforce our laws? Are they using the mission? We also were going to gauge it with the Downtown Aberdeen Association to see what is the temperature with the local businesses. Are they seeing improvements? We would check in with Luco Construction and those other businesses downtown. We would also check to see about the number of calls and complaints and trespasses. And we would still track cleanup costs because we know that if we disband that encampment downtown, they're going to spread throughout the city. So we only have 2 people right now that we've assigned to clean up the downtown core. Where are they now having to clean up? Where have people disbanded to? So those are the types of things. EMS calls by zone. That was suggested by our assistant fire chief. Now where are all the EMS calls going to instead of being centralized in that one location? So that's the kind of information that we were going to track for the time being, depending on how the council wanted to move forward with the village project. I know that some of you, I don't know if all of you are aware, but we met with the county commissioners last week. And one of the things they wanted to see is they wanted to see a plan that came forward from the city where the council wasn't so divided. They wanted all of you to work together to figure out something that could work for you, because they have some ideas of where they would like this location, at least a couple of the county commissioners, and none of them included Junction City, and all of them included here in the city of Aberdeen. So this is our opportunity, if the council wishes to continue, is to kind of figure out a solution. We don't necessarily have to figure out a solution. This could be the onus could be on the county itself since it receives all of the funding. So I think we have a lot of options here. Maybe there's an opportunity for us to sit and to talk about this and to figure out what direction we want to head. So as far as the homeless response committee, they engaged in a lot of discussion yesterday as to like how to move forward given the court ruling.
I got something to say to that. So thank you for answering that. Martin versus Boise, Grants Pass, I mean, that's been in works for months, long time. And the fact that you're telling me you just had a conversation about it yesterday doesn't give me a lot of confidence. So perhaps moving forward, we should dissolve the HRC, work together as a council to fix these issues. I think that could be probably one of the best things for our council and the town.
Discussion that we had at the HRC meeting was perhaps given the way the courts have weighed, that we look to creating a partnership with or some of the non-profit groups and let them carry the momentum of coming up with the place and running it, finding the funding that the city potentially could take a back seat. So we have a range of ideas, but Obviously, we just met yesterday. There hasn't been time to follow up with nonprofits to see if anyone would be interested in that for one. And to look into some of the other questions that have come up. So I think the HRC has been very productive. And disbanding that is not going to serve anyone at this point. It would set the city back to square one 10 years ago. And we need to keep this momentum going where we give the people what they want, which is a solution and some answers.
You don't mention that it's behind closed doors, and I don't mean to throw any shade at you guys, okay? I understand that you guys
Mr. Mayor,
working towards solutions.
we have a motion on the floor right now regarding the postponement of the move for 30 days. Give proper notice.
Can I speak to that then?
If it's on that topic, and then we can wrap back to the
So
good of the order.
I'm open to the idea of 30 days with some caveats. Okay, I would like to hear from the nonprofits that, you know, what is the plan that you need more time to grow? I want to see, like Liz was saying, have those nonprofits step up more and the city take a back seat. I think that a lot of us could get behind that. Is enforcement still going to happen in the rest of the city and just not down there? We're still going to do the cleanup? Can we discuss what that cleanup looks like? You know, I've made mention before that, and I think the public works staff has also made mention that there is a copious amount of trash that gets left behind. I know you guys said that you've learned some lessons from the last cleanups. We do it right this time. And maybe consider the, you know, the tent, tarp, pallet, that sort of stuff, the basic things, but get rid of the mountains of garbage, you know, and all the other things that are around it. It's hoarding is what it is. And it's not healthy for them, and it's not healthy for the city, and it's not healthy for the businesses that are down there. So I'm willing to talk about 30 days down there, as long as we're still enforcing ordinances in the rest of the city, looking at RVs and enforcement there. The other thing is, I would really like to see, and I know the council's talked about this before, doing assessments on these people, identifying who they are, where they're from, what their issues are, what are their needs. Who wants the help? Who doesn't? Distinguish amongst these people so that we can better serve them and the nonprofits can better serve them. Is this something that we can do? If we do this 30-day extension and it's strictly for the camps under the bridge, are these things that we can do?
Can I speak to that, ma'am?
You may.
I know I'm not a social service expert. But we have many organizations that are collaborating. And I think this is something we can ask of them, is for them to, they may already be doing this as part of their work, but to assure us that they are talking to our homeless population, finding out where people are at, what their needs are. And we ask for a report back.
There needs to be some cohesion, I think, with those entities, because what little I am down at the camps, there's not a lot of cohesion. I see DHR down there all the time. PCAP has been down there. I know Renault Wellness goes down there. But I sat in meetings this last week, and I'm sorry, I'm going to throw the shade. You know, our homeless population has brought up CAP. I've brought this up before. They are not down there. I heard in a meeting that they came out of the home. They meet people where they're at, that they go down and they do advocacy down at the camps. And that's not what I've heard. And that's not my bias from even showing that, is from me talking to the unhoused population down there. So there needs to be some cohesion among our nonprofits. And they can bring those reports to us so that we can work together, because right now this isn't working.
I agree with you.
Do it. Still have to clean up. This week, I'm not opposed to that, extending it for 30 days as long as something's happening during the 30 days. So we're not just
some guidelines in place for the people that are staying down there, I think would be very helpful.
Well, if I were the people down there, I'd use this 30 days to try and connect with services and try and make an effort on your part to, because you know what's coming.
We are.
Yeah, and yeah, and I know most people down there are actively trying to get services. Unfortunately, there's just not enough services yet to go around everybody. There's a waiting list I wish we didn't have, and that could be years, but we can't, it's like, that it can't go on for years.
I want to make sure that everybody has some feedback in this discussion. Are there any other council members that have anything that they'd like to add?
I think for me, the biggest thing with the 30 days is just making sure we're giving people an ample amount of time to utilize every resource that they have access to, whether it's through community resource groups or trying to get back in touch with family. I know I couldn't get to my dad's in 5 days from here. I didn't have a car or anything like that. So I want to make sure that we're doing the best we can by then to get them where they need to be. I can stand by wanting to see some more collaboration from our resource groups. So they're only just now starting to have those conversations collectively. It was all collectively, and I'd like to see more of that. As long as we're still seeing that, I think the 30 days is the best option for us right now.
I'm gonna save most of my message for the good of the order. But I've been asking for quite a while that the services come, meet with the council and tell us what they're doing and what they can do to help people. I didn't catch her name in the burnt orange shirt. Tara? Sarah. Okay, so Sarah is a prime example of what is going on in Aberdeen. 20 years without a house, right, Sarah?
No, not me, but I've been 10 years without a house.
10 years without a house. She's obviously fallen through the cracks. You know, so we need the services to come and let us know, you know, what are you gonna do with your millions to help people like Sarah? You know, don't ask for more time and then not have a solution. You know, and that's what we need. We need solutions, and we need them to give us the solutions because they're getting millions and millions for it.
And can I say something? Before we were behind the lines at the camp, we had to pack up every day, and my husband's disabled. He needs back surgery, he needs shoulder surgery, he has broken screws in his arm. How are we supposed to pick everything up every day and then put it back out every night? I'm 50 years old. This is ridiculous.
So, I'll add a little bit more here. You know, most of you don't know me. I didn't know Doug until there was a cold weather shelter across the street from his business. And I didn't know anything about that until I saw a post on Facebook where Doug was really getting hurt. You know, so as a council, we need to work together, but as a community, we need to work together. And if the homeless community is doing things, you know, littering, you know, doing things that Doug dealt with, that Pastor Sean dealt with when he had the cold weather shelter next to him. You know, as a community, as a homeless community, will you work with the people that you're living amongst and say, listen, don't trash the town, don't vandalize. You know, those are the kind of things that make the town think, oh my gosh, we gotta sort this problem out. It's destroying our businesses. And the businesses are breathing down our neck. So it's not just the homeless that breathe down our neck. It's the businesses that breathe down our neck as well. We have to work together.
I think disbanding the camp would be the proper thing to do right now, because I think that you guys will find more of that, more broken with it.
And
Mr. Mayor.
So
This is
in
the
that
conversation.
happens,
Deb.
it's gonna be hard, you know?
It is.
This is supposed to be.
I know, yes, I know, but you know,
I'm just telling us the truth of it.
I know we need to.
Yes.
But I don't always back for this.
Are there any other council members that have anything to say on this item? When you're done, I would like to amend Councilmember Parachini's motion.
Absolutely, and I was just gonna emphasize on the severity of this, 30 days is 30 days, and the nonprofits, like Deb said, and we all sit here, we completely agree. This is your time to shine, help these people out and, put them on streets, give them what they need. I mean,
I got it. 90 days. This is very minimum. All right. All right, so the motion is that we extend it for 30 days. That's what we're talking about right now. We can reevaluate it. We can reevaluate it.
You know, I understand the emotions in this room, but you also have to understand that there's 17,000 people in this town. And I'm sorry for the trouble that you guys are going through. I'm down there with you guys every week. I get it. I've had family down there. I've had family die down there. Okay. But we have to look out for everybody. Okay, we have to find some balance. This has been going on for years. So I look forward in 30 days, seeing what all our different nonprofits that are down there doing the work can bring to the council. So
After 30 days, if there's progress.
if we need to revisit this in 30 days, we can revisit in 30 days. This is.
This is not balanced. You pick people that are already on the curve, even further off.
Okay, as a reminder, this isn't the discussion period right now. There's council comment period and there's also the public comment period. So I'll ask you all to refrain until it's your turn to speak again to allow the council to do the business they need to do.
I'd like to call the question.
Oh, I wanted to amend Councilman's Bertram's motion, but
Don't we have to vote on what's,
I would make the motion to amend her motion and then we would vote on the approving the amendment and then the motion as amended.
What's your amendment?
So I just want to have it on record and just part of the minutes and everything, that the caveats that I mentioned. Do the 30-day extension, but I want to see enforcement of our ordinances throughout the rest of the city. When we do the cleanup on Tuesday, I want it to actually be a full cleanup. I don't want to see all the filth and the garbage and everything else left behind. Let's do a full cleanup. And I really would like to see our nonprofits do these assessments on people and bring that to council so we can identify who is who, what the problems are, how we can best direct services to them. So I know that's very lengthy, but that's my amendment. Thank you.
So I didn't write those
So
down.
the amendment is that, to allow for 30 days, the cleanup on July 9th continues, enforcement of our law throughout the city, a full cleanup where, no more items are left behind as it was last time, and that the nonprofits do an assessment and bring it back to council.
Okay. Is all in favor? Yes. That the amendment. So now we're going back to the 30 days.
No,
that's.
So now we need to vote on the and motion as amended.
Yes. All right, so is there any more discussion on that?
I need a motion to,
so moved.
thank you.
Thank you.
Second?
Now, is there any discussion?
Second.
All in favor? Opposed?
I just want to recognize this is a moment. Good to see you.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, so, now the public is welcome to come back for, 3 minutes apiece, keep it civil. Please state your name and address.
My name again is Drew Dahl. I live at the bottom of Austinville in Aberdeen. I'm not sure which ward that is. I'm excited you guys are extending this for 30 days. The big problem I see with closing this down abruptly is we're just pushing people out into multiple different areas. And right now we have that area, but by dispersing it, we're gonna answer in the blender and putting it back into your lawn. It's gonna be everywhere. It's gonna be, you know, we obviously have problems and enforcement issues, but if we limit it to one area, we're able to respond to that one area. I know we have people living in the woods behind us now, and It's growing exponentially every week. I see more people coming back there. And this is gonna continue to be a problem. We're gonna continue to push these people into our outlying areas where it's harder to get response into them, fire, medical. And we're gonna have people dying in the woods. And we're gonna have fires. And we're gonna have other issues that are more easily contained in a space that we can monitor and a space that we can patrol and respond to. If we have all these different little splinter groups, when people are pushed out where they're at now, it's going to create a larger issue. Without having a plan in place of how to move forward and how to deal with this, we're not really helping the solution. We're not solving a problem. We're just pushing it out of where it currently is and spreading it out everywhere. With the 30 days, I think we need to work with some of these nonprofits. If you guys have solutions, us as a community wants to help, but we don't have a good outlet to help. I spoke with some of these people that have been moving into the woods behind me, and most of these guys don't want help. They want the states to be unintimidated in their drug use, has been my experience. And they want to have a lawless place where they can do whatever they want to do without having any oversight. I had cops up there several times with people freaking out because they got a bad batch. And I don't want to see somebody die on my doorstep because I didn't call somebody to help. But they're not. Yep.
And for a second this time, my legs feel okay. Again, I'm Sonny here. I spoke earlier. I just wanted to put out there that I forgot to mention before. Revival at Grace Harbor is still hosting a laundry cart at Valley Cleaner that anybody in the community goes and puts money on so that the less fortunate in any situation that needs new laundry can call myself or Dawn Huntsman and have their name put on the list with Curtis at Valley Cleaner and do one load of laundry free of charge. And the community has helped us host that, and they have been tremendous, and we so appreciate it. And we have heard such good remarks from everyone about that ability. So that is another mustard seed that has been helping and that works. And so please keep that in mind, that things like that do exist and they can help.
Thank you.
I'm Simon Brown. And so a couple nights ago, my wife and I were talking about the people we've lost out here. And we wanted to separate it because we know there's a lot of addiction. We know there's a spike in overdoses, but we wanted to channel that out and just look at the exposure, like people dying from the cold weather out here, right? And over the past 5 years, we counted 30 people. And my whole concern here is we're going to do the cleanup and everything. I encourage all you guys that are out there, whatever you want to keep close to you, because in the past, we've seen personal items like blankets and sweaters and stuff like that get tossed because it was outside of their tent. It could have been on a clothesline trying to dry. It wasn't inside that quarters where you guys said was necessary. Anything outside of it would be tossed, right? So I'm encouraging you guys to do what they're saying. At the same time, we need to be a little more cautious because we're losing individuals over weather, over stuff that we could be helping with, with blankets and stuff. So it falls into responsibility on both sides, we need to be looking after the people that are out here at the same time. They need to be taking care of their own belongings. You know, so it's kind of a bitter evil on both sides. So one of my things is, the question is, how are we gonna prevent this in the future, exposure? And another question I have is, when is this project with Junction City actually gonna kick off and we start seeing progress on this getting built? You know, so we can get help for the individuals that are out there. Yeah. All right, yeah, please.
My name is Bill Turl. I left out some things I wanted to say is that I'm 72 years old. I get $964 a month. That is not enough to pay for rent anywhere. That is ridiculous. I know it's going to piss somebody off if you go out there and tell them, hey, lower your rent down where people can afford it. You wouldn't have this problem. Down there in Tent City, I stay down there on F Street, southeast by F Street. God asked me to clean up the area. It's starting to spread. Even Bill comes through there saying, you guys are inspiration for the neighborhood. It's maybe it'll spread. I noticed the other day, down the way, down by G Street, they started to push brooms cleaned up down there. You know? We just need a chance to do something. I'm trying my best to help them out, and it's working. I had a compliment saying, the guy came through to say, hey, this looks like a campsite. He said, I've never seen it so clean. I mean, everybody in the community down there are out there cleaning. And you guys need to come through there and be see for yourselves.
Thank you.
My name is Gabrielle Doctor. I'm currently homeless. And you guys have asked why we don't use some of the services. So I'm transgender. At the mission, I'm currently on hormones. At the mission, I would have to stop my hormones and go back to my original name. They would not use my name. It is so infuriating. Because I have worked very hard to be comfortable in my own body. And they want to take that away if I can. How is that comfortable to me? How is that okay? Thank you.
So I'm Melissa Doris. I work with the Parent Child Assistance Program here in Grace Harbor. And if you don't know what PCAP is, we work with moms who are underserved, who are having trouble meeting their children's needs along with their own needs. We have clients down there who are readily seeking services and are unsuccessful. We recently had a mom with a brand new week-old baby who was put into the travel lodge by CAP. The travel lodge had issues with their water, and they told her, if you leave, you no longer get your closure. Then they kicked her out. If she was homeless, they would have taken her baby. The Department of Children, Youth and Families would have taken her baby. She did not have the resources. She had to go live with family she did not want to live with, and she had to leave Grace Harbor. This is a person who can maintain herself. She meets her own needs. She can get herself a car. But because she didn't have enough money after having a baby and having medical issues, she was put out on the street and forced to leave our county. And I do not agree with that. And that was CAP that put her on the street. And that is unacceptable. Huh?
Throw CAP out here.
I have lost a lot of faith in CAP, given a couple instances just like this. And I hear a lot of talk about people saying, oh, well, CAP has money, CAP's gonna do this. Well, at the end of the fiscal year, they actively did not help people because they were out of funds. How is that helping? Thank you.
And I work in Ward 1. I don't want to be up here tonight talking to all you guys, but at a certain point, it hits a barrier where people need to speak up, and there's a lot of questions, really great questions that have been asked here, and I do feel that with a little bit of communication, those would get answered. I'm a case manager at Housing Employment Stability Case Manager for DHR. And my caseload is made up of clients that are kicked off of everybody else's programs, the people that have fallen through the cracks, the people that are being told or perceived as being not worthy for the support, the people that nobody else wants to talk about or look at or care about. Those are the people that I spend 8+ hours serving since 6 a.m. this morning. I have not even gone home to see my son. I have at least 40 people on my caseload, and I'm actively trying to house and employ every single one of those individuals as they are as well. In order to be compliant with the program I work for, I have to identify their goals, and I have to be progressing towards those goals with those individuals. So we're not just sitting around holding their hands, we're identifying what their goals are, identifying what their barriers are, and we're working to deconstruct those barriers together as a team. I have housed somebody as quickly as 24 hours with the support of other community members and community partners, including CAP and other organizations. Now that that support has dwindled with the challenges we have seen, I am struggling to house my clients. We are seeing a lack of low-income housing and a lack of supplemental resources. People are barely surviving. So we talk about a 30-day period. That sounds awesome, but we need the support in order to support these people, and they are people. This is not a group. These are individual people that I care about very deeply, and I know their personal stories. I know why they're there, and I know why they can't leave. I know what's stopping them from getting housed. And I will show up to fight for them every single day. So you give us more time and we will continue to do what we have done. And we need more support. We need more housing. We need more funding. We need people working together. CAP needs to support our clients, as do we. I can do a lot more when we all decide to work together instead of being divided.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Imagine I ain't gonna make very many friends after this one, but I've got some things that need to be said.
Can you start with your name, sir?
My name's Dennis Locke. I come over from Hoquiam. Didn't expect to see you folks here. I'd like to just say the word tenacity. For people to make it today, they have to know that, have tenacity, or they won't make it. I've been working on my home for 40 years. I knew the building inspector in Hoquiam, his name Juan Allen, wanted me to do it from the inside out. That's what I did. Been working in Oregon to pay for my problems for 20 years now. I come up here retired. Luckily, I'm retired because if I thought my Social Security would be a problem with me finishing my building. But luckily, I'm retired because if I weren't, I'd be losing my building. I don't know how close the laws are here in Aberdeen or in all of Grays Harbor, but I walked into a situation totally unexpected that I should have known about because of bad decisions and the starts of it of other people. My house has been partying over there since I had to go to work to pay for everything. And before I drift off and forget the main focus of my needing to speak is because I walked into a situation I'm not even allowed to be in my home, except during the business hours of the city of Hoquiam. I'm there fixing it. The thieves and rats have more time in my building than I do. I'm subject to a first-degree trespassing ticket now because of going in my building, shining around. There's no way I was residing in there trying to hide from the officers. Got myself in big trouble of a first-degree trespassing ticket. I'm locked out of my home, and when I say my home, I've owned that home for closer to 45 years than 40 years. It's been my residence. I plan on living there and dying there. I paid $8,500 in taxes this last year. I got in arrears on them and had to pay it all, which wasn't my fault. I looked at the situation. I talked to the ladies in Montesano, and I had 2 years, and I paid half a year of the year owed. All of a sudden, people are wanting to buy my home. I don't know how I can make the check and put it from the post office and put it in their box, and they never got it. I had to pay another $6,500 to save my home, and I can't even be in there to fix it.
Thank you. Out of time, sorry, thank you.
My talk over?
Time to go, we got 3 minutes, sorry.
Oh, I didn't realize that. I would have been talking faster. It's tenacity. With everything, everybody needs housing and off the drugs. People need to look at where they're going. Thank you. I will be counsel if there's anything in that situation for some folks that it can be looked at.
Hi, I'm Sarah again. Thank you for giving us 30 days, but honestly, I know 30 days isn't gonna be enough. I have been homeless since September of 2022 this time. I was housed for 1 year. My husband and I decided to get back together, and the pastor wasn't happy about that because I had been using drugs and was trying to get clean. And so he kicked us out of our home, well, my husband's home that he had resided in with his mother for 5 years until she died. And so, before we were out here, not behind the lines that you guys wanted. So, we had to get up and move every day, and he's disabled. Like I said, I'm almost 50. It's hard to do. But I am working with DHR. I've tried to work with More Right Group. I've tried to work with CAP. You know, what about instead of doing a cleanup, if we buy cots and get a place for us to be able to stay in that has a roof over its head where we're not gonna build constantly. I'm not one of the people that are building, but I get kicked out of my home every month. I have to take everything down. I have to move everything out so that you guys can clean up. Clean up what? They're not even taking the rest of the trash that's out there that needs to be cleaned up also. And Junction City isn't viable. You guys have the juvenile facility down there. There's still people that are doing hardcore drugs. They're still shooting up. Thank God. I haven't done it in almost 2 years. But I mean, the reality of it in Junction City, you're gonna find tons of needles down there too. And you can't keep everybody out of there constantly. Where are we gonna go during the day? They're just gonna set up tents during the day in other places. Honestly, you guys really need to think about this. 30 days is great, but it's not logical. I've been looking for housing for almost 2 years now, and I cannot afford a place to live. I just applied for ABD. I have to wait until August 2nd in order to see if I even qualify, which means I probably won't get it until September, which means I won't qualify for the HIP program until September. That's at least, 60 days from now? So in 30 days, what am I supposed to do? Pack up all my stuff, my disabled husband and my dog, and be like, okay, everything's gonna do this now, and this is fun. You know, where are we supposed to go? What are we supposed to do? I would be willing to help you guys sit and think of solutions and work with you guys. I helped Olympia. You know? That's all I got.
Mr. Mayor, we've exceeded our 2-hour time limit.
Okay.
My name is Victoria.
Just a minute, please.
Just a moment. We need to extend.
Motion to extend for another 20 minutes.
My name is Victoria Jones, and this is my little dog, Tuffy Ted Russell. He has 3 legs. We were attacked by a pit bull. I lost his leg. The pit bull still alive, still killing animals. But that's not why we're here. I'm here because I've been homeless for almost 25 years here. I get an income. Matter of fact, this building we're standing in, my husband helped build. The first time I've been in it, I went. And I live in a motorhome right now. And there's no place for older motorhomes to park. Well, I can't afford a new motorhome. Okay. I was turned down for my low-income housing over a retainer against Mr. Don Beck, which was a landlord I had sued for an illegal eviction. I also had an application for a tiny home to be built for me. And I was denied the build of a tiny home. I don't know why. I get almost $1,100 a month. And it's not enough for me to afford to rent a place to live. I've been disabled since 97 from a car wreck from a drunk driver. And now the city's threatening to tow my motorhome away. Where am I going to park? Where am I going to go? My husband helped build this building. I pay taxes just like he did. And I'm denied housing over a retainer. Why? Can anybody answer why was I denied housing? I've been disabled since 97. Why would I be turned down from my low-income housing? What is a retainer? I don't know what a retainer is. I know I had a retainer against Bonneville, but I don't quite know what that is or what that means. And that's the reason why I was turned down for housing. Why should he be allowed to affect my housing? He was a landlord, a slum lord. I had to sue him. And I won my case. But yet, I'm still denied my housing because of him. Why? I had a cab worker testify on my behalf in the courtroom against Mr. Don Bell for housing, so help the homeless. He helped me be homeless. So what do I do now? Yeah. So then with there, some people would be nice. I don't know what to do.
I am Josh, I'm a resident of Aberdeen. And there's one more thing I wanted to touch base on. Number one, there's a big housing crisis out there, If you get online and you look at all the places for rent, the rent is outrageous out there. Apartments are like through the roof. And, something y'all gotta, I sit back and what I see is I see everybody pointing fingers towards wanting these people to help. Well, something else y'all gotta look at, y'all are one paycheck away from being homeless as well. One paycheck away from losing everything you got. It could happen in a blink of an eye. A natural disaster could happen. And it isn't until then that people come together. Like, seriously, you guys need to quit. The council needs to quit thinking around with this and putting this off on other people. And the council, everybody needs to come together. This is not the answer. Keep everything off, give them 30 days, kicking people out of their homes, the only place like, you guys are creating a big disaster for this town. If you don't see it now, listen to yourself. If you don't see it now, you're gonna see it then. It's gonna turn into a big disaster. It's gonna be bad. So something needs to be done. People don't need to be kicked out of their homes, there needs to be help. Something needs to happen. This needs to stop. This is not the answer. So, like I said, y'all are one paycheck away from everything, losing everything. That's it. Y'all have done, one paycheck. That's it. Homeless. Just like the rest of these people. Something needs to happen. You can't push everything off on the volunteers. Y'all got to come together, everybody, and not be against each other. Not be against these people or the homeless. I mean, come on. Can't park in Tractor Supply anymore. What's going to happen with all the cars downtown? People park all the time, more than 4 hours. Can't do this. You know, you can't do this to the homeless. It's not the answer. That's what I got to think.
Thank you.
I do appreciate everybody for taking their time to listen to my story. I appreciate you all very much.
I appreciate you.
Love you, big one. I love all of you.
Maxine Johnson again, lives in Oakland, student at Grace Harbor. I just want to say a few quick things. Gabriella, I'm proud of you for being open here and being open as a homeless person.
Thank you.
And again, we need to talk about the fundamental and systemic solutions to these problems, not Band-Aids. We need to talk about how can we get ourselves out of this? And I would like to agree with my friend over there, that we need to look into stuff like eminent domain and taking over these houses that are, these possible houses that are not being used. If someone is staying in a building without permission, they're a squatter. If someone is owning a building without letting anyone live there or use it, they're not considered a squatter or something as bad. I think that's a contradiction. I think if you are sitting on a property that is not being used for the benefit of the people, or at least a business, that should be taken. If we have a city government, which I have seen some evidence of being in support of civil asset forfeiture, why aren't we doing similar measures for the benefit of the people? Because if we are doing civil asset forfeiture, while we are not trying to hit on to this homeless problem with similar tools, we are just attacking those without means, and we're letting those with means, with the means to own something more than they need to live and to thrive, while there are people who are dying in the street. 14,000 people a year die in the United States just due to starvation. Poverty is the second highest cause of death in America. And we are in a poor community. And we need to look into any solution that we can, especially ones that solve the problem at the root, like housing. That's my piece.
Before I've already spoken to this, I'm gonna make this quick. At the last council meeting that was held in this building, I was here and Mayor Orr asked for a community member to serve on the homeless response committee. And within 24 hours, I gave him a phone call, which I think they already heard for, so I sent him an email. And he returned that email saying that he wanted someone that had native blood, community member to serve on the committee and time member to support the committee. What he doesn't know is that I did have native blood on both my family lines, and so, the chair of the homeless response committee did ask me if I could serve on the committee, and I didn't follow up further, so I am still interested in doing that. I know I'm perceived as having a different opinion from what the direction of the council is, but I would still like to serve in that endeavor, and I do have a solution, for what you're seeking to do as a council. The property that we're seeking over here, they're asking almost $800,000 for, which our city does not have to invest in that. There are about 45 beds available, we heard tonight, for people to go sleep in. It'd be great to take advantage of that. The city's wanting to do coordinated services. I'm assuming you've had a discussion already about how we would facilitate that. I've been up to City Hall about 3 times in the past month, and not sure how many years ago, we moved our parks department over to the old world building. And I think there are 3 people that are working in that space that we're leasing over in the old world building. And when I went over to City Hall on the second floor, there were no people working in the space that they vacated on the second floor. So if we moved Parks Department back to the second floor of City Hall and used the space that we're leasing in the old world building for the Parks Department, we could put the people that we're trying to do coordinated services for right there in the old world building. And there's 2 additional spaces in the corner of the old world building that were for lease that we could also see about leasing. And I know the person that owns that building has very reasonable rents. So that would be a good location close to City Hall where we could facilitate this coordination. So that's my suggestion for a solution. Do it by you.
Hi, Blair Jones, Ward 4, back again. I jotted things down because I forgot, squirrel brain. The first thing that I want to address is it's very well evident. I would like to request that the city brings like a town hall meeting when like we did before, where there is an opportunity for us to ask questions and you guys respond. I think that is extremely important. As you see, people are needing to have answers, and while this is great and you guys are listening, it's not really solution oriented in the discussion of having that open communication. I think it's extremely important. It was very successful when we did it before. I think that we need to do it again. I also think I heard that you guys were planning on offering a space to house people's stuff. However, I think that we need to look at what things are acceptable of having so that then the city does not begin to house and store hoard. And instead of storing their belongings, why not take that space, purchase cots, which are on Amazon for about $24, purchase cots, and with that space, allow them to be in this, in whatever facility it is that you guys plan to store this. I'm sorry, I'm gonna just keep saying hoard because that's what it is. After, I think maybe you guys need to come up with another meeting with Public Works, with Public Safety, with whoever it is that does the ordinance, and determine what is allowed to be put back down there after the cleanup, because it is a hoarding place. While one thing might be a treasure to me, it might be trash to another person, but we need to set standards, and that needs to happen before we go back in there and clean up so that we have a better idea of what it is that we're cleaning up, so that we're no longer wasting money. Let's be productive, let's be proactive, and let's get a thing or two done, right? So let me check my notes because I might forget something. What I also know, and we need to go down there and do surveys on people to see exactly what their needs are. We have people who have higher needs, such as people in colostomy bags. We have people needing surgeries that can't get them because their living conditions are not sanitary. I don't know if you guys have ever had a surgery, but that's an open wound. You can get MRSA, you can get whatever in that. So I think that in these evaluations, we need to go a step further and make a hierarchy. It needs to be checked, rechecked, rechecked again. These people need to be put on a registry so that then we can account for who's there, who has been there, who's new, who's not. Like, it needs to be extremely strategically handled. We need to, I'm almost out of time. What I do understand is people need that come to Jesus moment, and maybe this is what that is, so that they can get the help that they need. Thank you.
Thank you.
To me, the line breaking, I'll be quick. One, as an organization review, it takes an assessment for all the people we service, but I wanted to also point out that this county as a whole only has one coordinated plan. So that means that organization was approved by the county. We applied, rather than just in that public. That one organization was approved by the county that has connection to the state, who then does time count and how that relates in our county, how we assess and address the numbers of houses in our county. One, but two, the coordinated entry provider is the one kind of entry point to everybody in our county.
right? So all the things for assessments and information and assets, and those kind of things for everybody who is considered houseless. That coordinated provider is going to then put that into the HMI system, which is the homeless management information system. Okay, and then that information is supposed to let everyone know who is houseless, what their needs are, and then coordinate with other agencies and other partners. So ourselves or DHR or chaplains or whoever. I think the new conversation is, we sit here a lot, is involved kind of discuss that kind of situation did not exist before. Is that maybe the coordinated entry process. We are the only county that only has one coordinated entry provider. So some of the information and things that seem to be a constant conversation, that might also be that Olympia and other counties have 4, 5, 6 coordinated providers that then can work with multiple different entities in our county. And the issue that we see in the main city in our county, finding and looking at that system in more regular field life, all in this coordinated entry. Right.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, we have 5 minutes.
I'll be done in 20 seconds.
Last one.
Joe Advantage, Presidential Recovery. I just wanted to tell the council, we're willing to host any of you guys to come to our agency, spend a couple hours with your staff, to show some transparency, sign an NDA with us. You can pair up with any of our staff, to show you guys what we do, how we operate and all that kind of stuff. Again, growth during this time, please be looking at maybe different Sky sites like we talked about. It's a great idea. It's like,
One more slide. I'll just take the rest of Joey's time. So I just really wanted to thank the council tonight because
I forgot that part.
we went into this grants, well, not grants pass decision, but this Supreme Court decision with a lot of reservations and a lot of fear that we are experiencing through our individuals that we're serving. And this meeting tonight and the fact that this council actually unanimously voted on something that was a benefit to the population that we are trying to help to progress and move forward is really impactful. The 2 hours that we spent talking with the community service organizations that now I can't blame everybody because DHR didn't exist 2.5 years ago. Right, so, how did we all coordinate together when it was only one provider for a very long time? And so we're in new territories. But the fact that we were able to do that today and have been doing that for the last 3 months as we've been doing these cleanups and providing and supporting during that. And the fact that this council can come together tonight and make a unanimous decision to allow us some more time. And I really want to reserve and say, don't expect miracles. Because there are so many things outside of our control, outside of the city's control, outside of the county's control. I don't know who controls it at that point. Is it God? But I really just wanted to thank and have everyone reflect on that. I'm really appreciative that Council President Morrison and the HRC Chair, Councilmember Genie, that we were able to make this happen and actually see some positive action happen out of tonight because we really weren't expecting it. So I just wanted to clue everyone in on it and as well as the work that Ruth and of course our chief that they do every day. And we want to be part of the solution and ways to move forward. And like Lena said, it hasn't been fixed in 100 years. We can't fix it in 30 days. But give us some opportunity to really work together and maybe we can find some things that we can move forward with.
And help us.
And help us, please. Thank you.
Thank you.
2 minutes.
Oh,
I think we're gonna need I'm sorry, guys, I'm assuming there's gonna be some good of the order. Do you guys think 20 minutes is sufficient, 15 minutes, like, what are we thinking, 20? So I'd like a motion to extend the meeting for another 20 minutes, please.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, so now for, so we got another 20 minutes. Was there anybody else with a comment?
We don't have any time for that, no. Ron, again.
No. Okay.
Good?
We're good.
Okay. Okay, so for the good of the order, for those of you who are left here, I won't take the time to tell you my story, but I was homeless. And I would be happy to share it with you if you ever want to hear it. Patty tells me I live in the most beautiful house in Aberdeen, and I happen to be answer. So miracles can happen. And that's what I would love to see happen with Aberdeen. I'm gonna second Riley's, motion. You know, maybe we need to still continue to have the HRC, but we really need to open it up and have the services attend, all services attend with the council, have our homeless folks here, give us suggestions. I didn't know until a week ago that the camp that we were planning in Junction City was temporary. You could only be there for 6 months. So for those of you who are living on the street, we lived here for 10, 20 years, that's not really gonna be much of a help for you, you know?
That's the side.
No, that's not what I was told.
Yeah, that's the back, whoever's running that was like that.
Yeah.
They'll be then.
Yeah, so it's not a place to live forever. It's a place to get your stuff together, you know? So for those of you who've been on the street for a long time, that's an opportunity hopefully for you to make some changes. You know, when all of this came down the other day, I thought two things. I thought that was probably the worst news in the world for those people down on the camp. You know, the worst thing they've ever heard, especially for those of you who've been here for 20 years. But it's also could be the greatest thing in the world that ever happened to you if we put our minds together creatively and find solutions, you know, and healing, you know, because we don't want anybody to be on the street for a year, let alone 20 years, you know. So I'm hoping that we can do that together. But and then once again, I just implore everyone, especially those who are left here who are down on the river, you know, I was promised, you know, I worked really hard. I had to work many hours to get my self together again, you know, and worked really hard to start a business here. The camp was moved across the street from our business, and it really impacted my business. And I was so afraid that I was going to end up homeless again and lose everything. And luckily that didn't happen. But, you know, I was promised by our mayor at the time, Mayor Larson, that the homeless people at the camp would be good citizens. You know, and we're really counting on people being a good citizen. And the vandalism that happens, or the threats of vandalism, are really frightening, you know, for the businesses. And we need to work together. You know, if you want our help, there needs to be a mutual effort. And to go down to the camp and see it filthy, it's distressing. It's distressing for the businesses down there, and it's also distressing for the city. So we all need to work together. That's my quick message.
If I may jump in super quick, as part of this is business, but I did want to go on that. So echoing what both of you said. I don't know that disbanding the HRC is the answer, but I think it's no secret. We've had a divided council. Mayor and I've gone on at it, you know, HRC chair and I've had disagreements, but open for everybody to see. I think that you would have more buy-in from the council. I think you'd have more buy-in from the community if you guys were transparent. You know, do the, you guys promise that you're gonna have reports every meeting, do that. I think the worst mistake that you made, and I understand that you had your reasons for going behind closed doors, but I think on a community issue like this, that was the worst possible thing that you could have done, because it just breeds the rumor mill. It just breeds distrust in government. People need to be a part of the conversation. So kind of going to what Ms. Jones had to say, the budget workshop that we did with the community, where there was that discussion back and forth. And this tonight with our homeless community and members in the community and the nonprofits and everything, this is what we need to be doing to come to find solutions. Okay, so I hope moving forward that the HRC can commit to more transparency like this. This has been good. We have been able to find consensus tonight. which is one of the things that the county was asking for. I want to work with you guys. I think the other half of the council wants to work with you guys. We don't want to be obstructionists. We want to find solutions, but they have to make sense. Everybody's got to come together and everybody needs to be able to have their voice heard. So that's one thing. The other thing I wanted to say, scattered sites. I wish that more people would look into scatter sites. They do work. You're not having everybody lumped into one place and we can chaos and craziness. So I really hope the city will look into scatter sites, with community buy-in. Please don't leave the community out. If you're going to place something in their neighborhood, you need to do the footwork and have the community buy-in or you'll never get the support. And then we did have some item on the agenda. It's not something that we kind of overlooked it amongst all the conversation. It's not something that we can vote on because they have to bring us an ordinance to change it, but we're looking for some consensus. If we want to strike the language out of the municipal code. That's an, Aberdeen Municipal Code 12.46.045. Okay. So it would be subsection B, law enforcement shall not enforce prohibitions in the section when there's no available overnight shelter for individuals or family units experiencing homelessness on the date that the camping occurs. I just think if we don't take this out of our municipal code, that could cause some problems later on. So I would like to see the council come to some consensus that maybe we can move forward with amending this municipal code at the next meeting.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think now is probably just premature.
Sure, and my understanding was that even to,
Yeah, we have.
strike the language, it has to go through the process. So, what is the council agreeable to that?
I would like to see that, in writing, so that,
Sure.
you could point me to where it is and
Maybe you can see, I don't you like the whole, that is a question.
so page what,
Yeah, let me find that. Okay, so it's on page 3 of the packet. It's 12.46.045 and it's subsection B.
Page 2.
Macy is at 12.46.045.
Yes, ma'am.
Section B.
Yes. It's on page 3 in my packet. I don't know what.
It is worth noting that it's referencing the text on page 2 or 4 in that same section. AMC 12.46.040 is the language that's referencing.
Councilmember Morrison, I think given the Supreme Court decisions, and this would be, a bit of housekeeping to take care of.
Some kind of next meeting. Thank you. And that's all I have tonight. Did anybody else have anything for good of the order?
Thank you. So as I looked over the decisions from the Supreme Court on Grants Pass, it was a 6-3 split decision. Both sides in their write-up agreed on the one thing, that it's up to the local entities to come up with solutions. Police officers, volunteers, clergy, elected officials. There's a list here of mental health professionals. That it's up to us to come up with a meaningful solution to homelessness. And
And this doesn't, the findings don't mean that we can just kick the can down the road, which helps no one. It means that, that we need to recognize that the humanity of our homeless people and to support however we can as council in the city, meaningful ways for people to transition back in the community. The unintended consequences of the decisions, unfortunately, I think, do mean that more cities will be telling people, get out of Dodge. You're not wanted here. We don't have the resources. Move on. Here's a bus ticket out of here. So where do people go? That's really the overlying question and what we really have to solve. And the county plays a big role. We will do what we can as a city. But people need to go somewhere and they need a place where they can rebuild their lives. I think that it should be, if it's not part of the Bill of Rights, that people have the right to live a happy and fulfilled life. And taking away shelter doesn't help. Taking away access to medical services doesn't help. Having housing that continues to be more and more unaffordable doesn't help. I hope that as we explore options, that we will look for a site or multiple sites where people can go to be safe while they're waiting for service providers to fill in the gaps. And the state plays a big role as well. A lot of our local service providers get state funding and it's limited. I'd like to see our governor and the president of the United States declare a state of emergency for housing. That more money is funded in creating affordable housing and housing for regular working people. So this is thoughts that have been on my mind, and I appreciate that this meeting was called. It was on really short notice, and yet it's given us time to hear from the public in a way we haven't heard before, and to have some discussion among us. So thank you all for hanging in. For this productive.
Anyone else?
I think that, you know what, there are a lot of buildings downtown that could just be taken and turned into a place, you know, that could be, hey, here it is. This is your chance. If you want this to get better, there you go. I don't think that it's right to take so much away from the other citizens of this town, the conditions that the town itself is in. And you talk about the cost of living, but you just the other day, you know, you're pushing to increase the cost of living here, and that doesn't make any sense, and it doesn't do any good for the people here. I feel that we need to focus more attention on them as well. Yes, take care of the needs that have to be getting, taken care of, obviously, but what are we doing? What are we doing? That's, you know, I don't know, maybe I gotta reword everything to come back at you guys with this, but I feel like we've gone just way too far with this, and the fact that the HRC doesn't have any kind of backup plan, like this is just news. That is so hurtful to everyone. I don't understand why there was never a backup plan put into place. You know, I almost to a point feel like it's about money at the end of the day, and that's not right at all. That doesn't help anybody. So there's some thought for everyone.
So for the good of everyone, I move that we adjourn our meeting tonight.
Moved and seconded, all in favor? Aye. Thank you guys for coming.